Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about why do the things that are good for us feel so hard to do. Let me just start off by saying I hope you guys had a great holiday. I hope that your new year has been going well, even better than you expected it to be. One of the biggest things that I've always struggled with is not the planning process of my goals, not the understanding process of my goals. For me, it's the consistency that's the hardest part, and it just feels so hard to do, even if it's the simplest thing in the world. For example, sometimes brushing your teeth can feel so impossible to do, even though it seems like the simplest thing in the world to other people. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can relate to. So that's why I wanted to make this video today, because when we ask ourselves this question, we may not have all the answers. And maybe people in our lives that we ask this question to may not have the answers either. So I wanted to give you real science-based answers as to why the things that we know are good for us feel so hard to do sometimes. And I just want to remind you that you're a human being and you're growing and changing as a person, and I don't want you to beat yourself up, okay? These reasons that I'm about to give you for why these things are so difficult to do sometimes is not so that you can excuse yourself and kind of beat yourself up about what you're not or what you are doing. This is to help you understand yourself a little bit more and understand who we are, what we are as a species. I don't want you to take this information and turn off this video and say to yourself, okay, now I can beat myself up because I have science-based facts behind this. No, for example, I don't want you to go, okay, well, I'm craving instant gratification because I'm just such a loser and I just can't learn how the hell to get delayed gratification instead of instant. That's not what I want, okay? I want you to be able to say to yourself, okay, these are some possible reasons why this might be so hard for me right now, and here's ways that I can make this better. Here's ways that I can move forward and just do better all around while giving yourself grace but not being mean to yourself. Let's start just kind of like with an overall summary. So things that are good for us kind of feel hard because they require us to step outside of our comfort zone, okay? Do something that is familiar to us, such as delaying gratification, like I was just saying, overriding instincts and habits that prioritize short-term pleasure instead of delayed gratification or long-term well-being. It's a lot easier to give in to the immediate things, okay? So what is the difference between instant versus delayed gratification? So our brains are wired to seek immediate gratification because in early human history, as we talk a lot about on this channel, those feelings were often really, really crucial for survival. Healthy habits like exercising and saving money typically offer more long-term benefits, while easier, more pleasurable choices like eating junk food or scrolling on social media or watching Netflix provide immediate gratification. So immediate gratification is this when your brain goes off immediately. Like every time you scroll through a TikTok or a reel, whatever, you're getting gratification from that. Whereas sitting through a longer film really makes you wait for that gratification of the ending of the film. Just like reading a book makes you wait much longer for that gratification. And it may take you weeks, months, maybe even days just to finish the book. That's just an example of delayed gratification. The most familiar delayed gratification example that I think a lot of people know is exercising, okay? Exercising is really tough because you're not seeing results immediately. So your brain is left to wonder, okay, I'm not seeing results right now. Is this working? Why are we wasting our time doing this? That's a really common example of the delayed gratification because it takes time, energy, and effort. And those are things that through our survival instincts, we want to minimize those things. We want to live as comfortably as possible. Like I've talked about on this channel before, understand that your brain does not want you to be happy. And when you hear me say that, I know that might sound like really outlandish and kind of strange to hear, but it is true. Think about what your brain attaches to happiness. Very common things are when you complete a workout, you feel really good after. Those chemicals come into play after. When you're eating, which is important for your survival, just like your fitness is important for your survival. Academic feats where you literally feel yourself gaining knowledge and learning and growing, your brain feels good from that. Your brain is going to release chemicals that make you feel good when you're doing what is best for its survival. Now, you might be questioning, okay, well then, if exercising is best for my survival, then why is it so hard for me to get up and do it? That's what I want to explain in this video, which we'll get into. So another big reason why the good things for us are so hard is because our body's trying to conserve energy. Our bodies naturally want to conserve energy, okay? It's a survival mechanism from when food and resources were scarce, whereas today we have an abundance of every kind of resource you can possibly think of. So much so that it's creating other problems that we've never had in history before, identity problems that are kind of new. Overall, more problems because we're sitting in comfort, whereas back in our ancestors' days, we had to work day and night just to keep, like, we didn't have heating way back then. We didn't have a stove that could just click on like that. People were working day and night, going out into harsh weather conditions, trudging through snow and rain just to hope that they had food that night. They were learning to garden and gardening all summer, hoping that that food would last till the wintertime. Activities like exercising or cooking a healthy meal require effort, making easier, less demanding alternatives more appealing. So in the front of your brain, even if you're the healthiest person in the world, sometimes you might feel that urge to go and buy something that you know isn't good for you. And that's your brain's natural survival instinct speaking to you, telling you this is what's better for us. Buy this so that we don't have to take the effort to cook. Whereas in olden days, they didn't have a choice. They had to cook their meals healthy to survive. Whereas now we have the option between a healthier diet and a less healthier diet, which is a really common problem. I talk about this more in my other videos. Is depression more of a choice than we think? I really go into diets and food and how it affects our mental well-being, our physical well-being, as well as budgeting and how to properly budget to accommodate yourself. So if you're interested in that topic specifically, definitely check it out. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying. Energy conservation. Your energy is so valuable, and we only have 75 years on this earth if we are lucky, okay? So your energy, where you put it, what you do with it, really matters. And I can tell you, it's kind of contradictory to itself, the brain, where it says, oh, don't cook this meal, just go and buy one so that you spend less energy. But when I finish and I choose the better choice of cooking the meal by hand, I have this incredible sense of accomplishment after. I feel so much better about myself as a person, and I have so much more confidence in myself when I do those more difficult physical things. I think that's a very common thing, especially like the runner's high, I know is a really common thing that people talk about. I hate running, but oh my gosh, I really do have such a high, a natural high after doing a run, starting my day with a run, and then just going through the rest of my day. I can tell you it makes a world of a difference in my mood, how I carry myself, how I communicate. So yeah, even though it may be really frustrating and like sometimes you kind of feel lazy by not doing the things that you know are good for you, but I promise you, while it is important to have accountability for your own actions and the choices that you make in your life, understand that your brain is operating a certain way that has helped human civilization survive for thousands of years, okay? So why would the human brain fix what isn't broken? If it's made us survive this long and become the most dominant, conquering species in the entire world, why is our brain going to change that if that works, right? So the third reason as to why the good things may be hard for us sometimes is your mental resistance to change. Change requires a lot of mental effort. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you've watched other self-help videos out there. And forming new habits is, even though it seems so simple, is some of the hardest things to do. Breaking old ones is even harder. Your brain resists change because familiar routines are less mentally taxing, okay? Your brain wants to be on autopilot as much as possible. So even if old habits are not good for you, like going back to that ex, hooking up with people for instant sexual gratification instead of vowing celibacy, or, you know, eating that unhealthy food, or not studying for the test and failing and not caring about it. Those are more familiar to you, okay? So if you do those things frequently, I've talked about this before, it's easier for your brain to understand. Those mental patterns are going to come up and you're going to think to yourself, okay, why should I choose something different? If this is familiar and I know what the outcome is going to be, why am I going to change, okay? That's your brain. That's what your brain thinks to itself. So how I had it explained to me was, think of your brain, your neural pathways as two paths, okay? One path is very clear, okay? You can see right through the edge of the forest. There's no dangers. You can see you have a safe path. There's no vines. There's no trees. You know you're going to be safe if you take that path. The other path is covered with trees, vines. You hear mysterious noises of animals that could possibly be dangerous. It's dirty, it's dark, maybe it's raining in there. In real life, if you stood in front of these two paths, which one would you pick? You would pick the clear path. Exactly. So that's what your brain is doing in its neural pathways every time you try to start a new habit. This is unfamiliar. This is scary. What do you mean we're going to go on a run today? We've never done that before. What if we get hit by a car? What if it's cold out? What if we're uncomfortable? What if we break something? That's what your brain is doing to rationalize and make sense of this decision. So when you push past that initial resistance, and then you go and you run the next day, or the next week, and then you keep going, and then you keep going. You break down that path and make it just as familiar as the old habit of you binge watching Netflix on the couch. Change is really scary for a lot of people, and you're human, okay? So understand that. Everyone's resistant to change. Everyone has always been resistant to change since the dawn of time. Change is scary because we don't know what could happen. So while I'm telling you these things, they don't excuse your behavior or excuse you from being accountable for what you've done, but it can help you explain it, okay? That's what's important. I want you to be able to understand your behaviors and why you may or may not do certain things so that you can improve upon them, because that's what's worked for me. When I started my self-help growth journey a few years back, I was so confused why I was acting the way I was acting. Why was I so angry? Why was I so anxious? And when I started to study the human brain and how we actually form habits and why certain things are easier or why we want certain relationships even if they're dangerous for us, that helped me understand. Nothing helped me grow the way that understanding the way my own brain works did. So that's what the goal of this channel is. I want you to understand yourself so that you can grow to be better. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for being here today. So let's carry on. One of the biggest problems I think I have, and I know a lot of people I talk to can relate to this, is overwhelming expectations. We have a bad habit as human beings of making really lofty, overly ambitious goals, expecting huge changes overnight. And progress is slow and difficult a lot of the times, and it can feel so demotivating, like, if I'm not going to be an overnight success tomorrow, then what's the point? That's exactly how I felt about this YouTube channel. I was seeing so many self-help channels that were exploding from 100 subscribers to 600,000 subscribers in like 6 months or even less. And it just felt so demotivating. I kept telling myself literally this exact sentence. I kept saying to myself, if I'm not going to explode overnight, like huge and famous, what's the point? Why am I doing this? In that situation, I would say when your results aren't immediate, know that nothing good comes easy. 100% nothing good comes easy. The level of accomplishment that you'll feel after putting in so many hours of work is so beautiful. There's nothing that matches that feeling, in my opinion, truly. And you wouldn't believe the amount of confidence that you gain from putting in all that work. And I know it's so hard to not give up on that goal. And there might be times where you put in that effort over and over and over and over again. It just feels endless. My advice, what's worked for me, is visualizing. Visualize yourself getting to that goal, being there, doing that thing. Really put yourself in that moment of, I'm here, I'm a huge YouTuber, people love me, I have a silver 100,000 subscriber YouTube plaque in my bedroom. Really, maybe if you even take just 5-10 minutes a day, it'll make an astounding difference in your motivation. And do not rely on motivation for your goals. You have to rely on discipline, because motivation is going to be like this, whereas discipline is regardless of your motivation. Obviously, you're going to have some bad days, you're going to have some really good days, but it's a lot more consistent, and it's as consistent as you make it. Don't say to yourself, let's say you work a minimum wage job right now. I'm not going to say to yourself, I'm going to make $1 million this year. That's a lot of pressure, first off. And that really affects your self-esteem. Like, if you don't accomplish that goal, then you're just gonna feel bad about yourself. Instead of acknowledging all the things you did do this year, or perhaps in your life, you need to create real small steps that can get you to that $1 million. And while I do think being delusional is absolutely important for for dreaming and making your goals, also make sure you're not being insanely unrealistic, okay? Like, don't say to yourself, I'm gonna be the top model in the world in the next 6 months, okay? That is just unrealistic. Sure, maybe you will be the top model in the world eventually in your path, but you're just gonna hurt your own feelings and disappoint yourself, and you're going to be unable to view the progress that you've made this year by setting such unrealistic goals. While your goals should scare you a little bit and should make you a little uncomfortable, don't make them absolutely insane goals, okay? If you're someone that struggles with goal setting and with keeping to those goals, maybe reassess how you're setting your goals and move from there. I might do another video more specifically on goal setting, but I just wanted to kind of cover this right now. So another reason why the good things feel so hard is lack of immediate feedback, like I was just saying. Unhealthy habits like binge watching TV, eating comfort foods provide a lot of instant pleasure, while good habits, again, rely on delayed feedback. You can work out for a few weeks straight and be like, okay, why do I not have a skinny waist yet? Why do I not have abs? When the reward for your effort isn't immediate, your brain doesn't get the same dopamine hit, which makes it harder to stay motivated, which is why I'm stressing to you the importance of consistency and discipline, because the motivation is going to go up and down no matter what you do, no matter how well you're doing. There are people who are insanely wealthy and have accomplished most of their goals and still feel unmotivated a lot of days. There are writers who, you can take George R.R. Martin, for example, who can't frickin' put a book out for his life, even though he's created one of the biggest fantasy series of all time. The man has a legacy set for the rest of his life and probably many years after, and even he cannot get out a book because he doesn't feel motivated sometimes. Motivation is just a human emotion, okay? You can't buy it. You can't get it in a pill. It's something that goes up and down. So the question is, what routine are you building that will help you keep going when you're not motivated? That's the question. That's what I want you to get from that point. And my final point about why the good things can be a little bit hard for us is unhealthy habits offer a really big emotional escape or distraction from our problems. Doing what's good for us, on the other hand, it can be really uncomfortable and can make us confront uncomfortable emotions, admitting to ourselves that we have problems in areas we don't want to talk about having problems in. So it could be dealing with stress through meditation or building discipline through consistent effort. Those things are hard because that's admitting to yourself that you have a consistency problem. That's admitting to yourself that you have a problem with stress. Admitting that you have a problem is the first and sometimes can be one of the harder steps for people. Like when alcoholics realize that they are alcoholic, admitting that they have an alcohol problem can be embarrassing, can be frustrated, can be misunderstood by people that they love, can seem hopeless. So admitting that you have a problem, and you don't even have to call it that. Remember that you're a human being and you're not a robot, okay? You're gonna struggle with things sometimes, and I'm here for you, and that's okay. We're all community here helping each other grow and get better, and I value you. Okay, if no one told you that today, I love you, and you are here for a reason, okay? So I want you to keep trying. I don't want you to give up, because there are people way less capable than you that have gone through this, and you can do it too. You would not have clicked on this video if you were not struggling with this, if you didn't know deep down that you do have a certain issue. Like I said, you don't have to call it a problem or an issue. You can just say a concept that you're struggling with. You struggle with the concept of discipline. You struggle with the concept of keeping a consistent fitness routine. Word it however you like that makes you more comfortable, but then take action, okay? So here's how I want to tell you how you're going to make this easier on yourself, okay? Start small. Break down your good habits into manageable steps to avoid feeling overwhelmed, okay? Then celebrate your small wins. Even if you get out of bed, celebrate that. Make your bed. When you drink water, take your meds, celebrate that. So give yourself a sense of reward, accomplishment for every step in the right direction. Focus on your identity. Instead of thinking about what you have to do, focus on who you want to become. For example, I'm becoming someone who takes care of their health. Identity is a lot easier to understand because there are so many things we have to do in this life. Pay bills, gas up our cars, things that frustrate us, go to work, things like that. So to add your betterment of yourself into that long list of things that you feel you have to do or that you really do have to do is just going to make it feel like a chore when it should be something that you're celebrating and enjoying even when it sucks and being glad that you're participating in, okay? Find joy in the process. Find ways to make your healthy actions enjoyable. Listening to a favorite podcast during a workout is one of my favorite ways to get through the workout because I am someone that severely struggles with a consistent workout routine. Listening to an audiobook is one of my favorite ways to get through my daily walks, or journaling in a cozy space. Journaling somewhere that really feels like, let's say you love medieval taverns. Making your space look and feel more and more like a medieval tavern will motivate you. Write with a quill pen, write by candlelight, write on tea-stained paper. Whatever it is that brings you joy will help you to make these goals easier. So, all in all, those are some real scientific reasons why the good things are sometimes hard for us. And I really hope that this video helped you today. And I want to hear about your journeys down in the comments. Talk to me, subscribe, come back if this is the kind of content you're looking for. We talk about everything self-growth and self-help on this channel. And yeah, help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of February. So yeah, like I said, I really hope you enjoyed this video and I believe in you, okay? You got this. It's the start of a new year. Believe in yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you mess up. We're all human, and I love you. So thanks for watching today, guys.